Okay, Game Master 14 back here, and we're going to be taking a look at the console versions of Twinkle Star Sprites. This, of course, will be the Neo Geo CD version released back in 1997. That's the Neo Geo CD boot logo as you would start your system. And here, of course, is the title screen, which is in Japanese. We're going to go right into story mode. And then there's the world map, just like in every version of this game. Small load break, because, you know, putting a game on a CD-ROM, of course, makes it have to load off the CD-ROM, whereas the ROM chips in the MVS cartridge didn't have any load time. Okay, and this is, the gameplay is pretty standard, just like in the original arcade version. What you'll notice here is the audio sounds a bit better, because what you're hearing is CDDA audio, which all Neo Geo CD games had. Basically, when they ported a game to Neo Geo CD, they quickly ported the graphics and all the data and everything, but then they enhanced the audio to make it just sound better, because they had the CD-ROM medium, and with their Neo Geo CD and Neo Geo CD-Z, which of course was later revision of the system, they had a lot more data to spool, so it just really helped having CD audio in a lot of these games. The only problem I find here is voice quality is exactly the same. They really could have cleaned that up a bit. And it just doesn't feel like a CD-ROM game except for the audio. That's basically the Neo Geo CD version, identical except for better music. And of course, as you saw, I won this round, of course. Everything's in Japanese, there's no English option. The arcade version has the English option because all MVS cartridges do, of course. Okay, and right after this, we're going to go right into the Sega Saturn version. This, of course, is the boot logo for the Sega Saturn, which is the gray unit, which is the version 1.0. Normally, right after this, you would see the intro video, but I've cut that out and put it in a separate video because it just simply made this video way too long. This version was released back in 1997 just as well, and let's take a look. Right away you'll notice that it has a much more colorful title screen than any of the two previous versions. I like this load screen. It has them displayed in a comic book style and you see all the characters at once. The selection is just the same as the arcade version, but of course all in Japanese. Loading here for a second. World map, of course, is back again. But this is a cool feature of this version, and this version only. It actually has real voices while you're in the story scenes. So they're actually conversing back and forth with real voices. Neither the Dreamcast or the Neo Geo CD version features this. Of course, it's all in Japanese, but it adds to that anime-esque feel of the whole game. Okay, we're going to be loading here for just a second, and we'll be getting right into stage 1. And you'll notice right off the bat, music sounds great, even better than the Neo Geo CD. It sounds even more remixed, just better sounding in general. Sound effects are louder, they're just better, really. And even the voice samples, they just sound more real. The announcer, she sounds like she's like a real announcer who's like way in the background and she's like announcing with a megaphone or something instead of just like being right in the action. I still say that sounds like Pika, but it's probably Hika or something like that. I died, but that's okay. Not playing competitive or anything. And I like those chain attacks. I always thought that was a cool thing, and then it throws that fireball at your enemy. And it tells you that you're perfect because you hit all the enemies so good. Another cool thing in this game, if I didn't mention it in the original arcade review, is when you shoot at those little fireballs that come at you from your enemies, if you shoot them enough, they'll go flying back, which is what's called a reverse attack. You'll notice that a couple times in this video. And of course the charge attacks are good as well. They just really get you out of some jams. And of course those bombs, the big Starman bombs. This is what's called a boss attack. It's basically the... Oh, I launched my own boss attack here. Although I think she was dead already. Basically, a boss attack is when your meter gets fully charged on the bottom of the screen there, and then you do a charge attack, your like mascot or your bunny or whatever will come and jump on the screen and try to kill everybody, which is really cool because it often helps you win. Boss attacks are very important in some of the later stages especially. And now here's the next level. These are the Fry Guys. I just called them Fry Guys because they remind me, Fry Guys, Fry Kids from Ronald McDonald. They talk really weird and they sound really pissed off toward the end here. The bunny has a lot to say for some reason, and the girl seems shocked about it. And that Fry Kid's mad. Well, that's the Sega Saturn version. Let's move on to the next one. Now we're going to take a look at the Sega Dreamcast version. Of course, this is the usual Dreamcast swirl, which, I don't care what anyone says, I still say it's one of the coolest console logos ever. This is the only real difference in the Sega Dreamcast version as far as intros go, is the star coming up on the beginning and telling you about the Twinkle Star. This can also be viewed on the Sega Saturn version if you select the arcade mode, instead of just going to Game Start. But of course, it'll all be in Japanese, just like the Neo Geo CD version. After that star would have shown, you would have just seen the normal intro, just like there would have been in the arcade version, no real difference. The options menu offers you a lot of options in this. The most important ones are the BGM you can turn to CD version, which sounds a bit better, and the language can be changed to English, Japanese, and Spanish, which is really nice in this version. That you can actually play a Japanese game in English. Of course, the biggest downfall, in my opinion, is that the voice samples went out the window. They decided not to include that. This was released, of course, in 2000, but I think they were just looking to do a quick port just to make some money here, because they didn't include all the improvements of the Sega Saturn version, but they did include a few improvements which I had mentioned just a few moments ago. But in general, you'll notice the audio still sounds great, definitely better than the Neo Geo CD version, but not as good as the Sega Saturn version. Sega Saturn version still has the edge when it comes to the CD audio. All the sounds and everything definitely sound better than the Neo Geo CD version, close to the Saturn version at least. But as I said, this just to me seems like just a quick port. What you'll see on the screen here is this is actually how it's shown when you're actually playing it on your Dreamcast. All Neo Geo games put on the Dreamcast always tend to have a bit of room on the right and left side. I don't know why this happens. Maybe it's the original aspect ratio of the arcade game, but it just seems to always crop off like that. The only reason why the Neo Geo CD versions and the Sega Saturn versions had a bit of black space around them is the only way I could get them to record was to plug the S-Video out of my laptop into my capture card and then capture them that way. Because the respective emulators that those two games ran on, they just wouldn't work with HyperCam. And simply enough, I don't have a Neo Geo CD, and I don't want to mess up my Saturn trying to get a backed-up game, if you will, running on it. I still like that when it tells you you're perfect. It just makes me feel better. And here comes my boss attack. Take her, rabbit. Gotta love when your rabbit kicks someone's ass. It's always fun. We need more bunnies that kick ass in life. Well, basically, that was the Sega Dreamcast version. Nothing too earth-shattering, but still a decent version, especially for the multi-language options. While that's it for the original console versions, the PS2 version is more or less a remake or sequel. Of these versions, I thought that the Sega Saturn version was the best. It had the best audio and everything. The Dreamcast was nice because of its multi-language options. I'll see you next time when I do a whole video on the PlayStation 2 version.